G'day, my name is Taka. In the first couple of videos we looked at how to play through the C major to the C minor chord change. Now this is a pretty easy change to play through because they both have the same tonic and the set of notes that you can choose from when playing over these chords is almost the same. So in this video we're going to look at something a little bit more difficult, a C dominant 7 going to the F dominant 7. In this case we have to consider what the second chord, the F7, is going to sound like in the context of the key of the song that we're playing in. We're working in the key of C, and if we play an F7 it has a certain sound, but if we're in the key of F sharp or E flat, that exact same chord is going to have a different sound. Now when we were working only with C chords, we didn't worry too much about the weak chord tones because the notes were the same across all the three types of chord. So they didn't really give the listener any kind of clue as to what kind of chord it is we were playing. But now they become more important in helping establish that we've changed from a C chord to an F chord. And as before, we use the strong chord tones to help emphasize what kind of F chord it is that we're playing. Now I'm going to assume that you can already make the sound of the C7 chord and the F7 chord by emphasizing the strong and weak chord tones. And we'll take a look at how to smoothly transition between these two chords. Here's the C7 chord that we're going to start from and the F7 that we're going to transition to. And it's been written out so that the notes line up. So it starts here, goes up, and then wraps around again at the bottom. We start off by highlighting the chord tones for each of the chords. So for the C7 chord, the weak chord tones are the 1 and the 5, so that would be the C and the G. And the strong chord tones, the 3 and the 7, are E and B flat. We do the same thing for the F7. Weak chord tones are the 1 and the 5, and the strong chord tones, the 3 and the 7. The first thing we see is that both chords share a common chord tone, the C. And we can use this note to provide a very smooth transition from the C7 to the F7. If you have a look at this line, the C is used as the end of the first part of the phrase in C7, but also as the start of the second part of the phrase in F7. And so we get a very smooth flowing line transitioning from the first chord to the second one. We also look for chord tones that are semitone apart. So there's one here, and going from the E we can either go up or down by a semitone to hit a chord tone in the F7. If you have a look at this line, because the E and the F are only a semitone apart, we get a very smooth transition from the first chord to the second. If we look for whole tone transitions, there's one here and two here. And here's an example line. Because the chord tones are a whole tone apart, we can also insert a passing note in between the two of them, like this. As well as trying to get a smooth transition when playing through this chord change, we also want to emphasize the fact that the chord has changed from the C7 to the F7. The C note is common to both chords, and so while it's good for getting a smooth transition, it doesn't give the listener any kind of clue that the chord has changed. The F and the A are different chord tones, and so help give the F7 its different sound. And the E flat is not only a different chord tone, but it's not even one of the notes in the C7 scale. So by emphasizing this note, we can really convey to the listener the different sound of the new chord. In the earlier videos we looked at transitioning from a C major to a C minor chord, and in this video we're looking at going from the C dominant 7 to the F dominant 7. And if you compare the notes that belong to each chord, you can see that they're the same. And they're actually the same with B flat major as well. A mistake that students often make is trying to learn to play over each of these chords in the same way because they have the same notes. But if we look at how the strong and the weak chord tones are laid out, we can see that they're actually quite different. For the minor chord, the weak chord tones are here and the strong chord tones here. For the dominant, they are here and here. And for the major chord, here and here. And so by emphasizing different notes at different times, we can get the different sounds that belong to each kind of chord. We can get the dark minor sound. Or the bluesy dominant sound. Or that bright major sound. When you're practicing this stuff, the rules are always the same. Slow it down, break it down. Slow things down as much as you need to so that you can get it right. And once you can do that, then you can start thinking about doing it fast. And when you're learning anything new, it's often useful to break it down into smaller tasks, practice each one separately, and then put it all together. So we started out by learning how to make the sound of each individual chord. Then we played one chord after the other and focused on emphasizing the difference in sound between the two chords. And then finally we looked at how to transition more smoothly between the two chords. Chord changes are the building blocks of songs. So if you can really nail this one, the 1 going to the 4 in 12 keys, anytime you see it in a song, you'll just be able to fly through it and play it naturally without thinking. And this is really what we're aiming for, to start thinking about music in terms of musical ideas and concepts rather than playing specific notes and chords. The kind of analysis that we've just done looking at the 1 to 4 change, you can do for any chord change. So 2 to 5, 2 5 1s, 3 6 2 5 1s. Okay, all you need to do is sit down, do the analysis, and then go practice.